What's up, guys? Welcome back. Donatello's Workshop RC. David here. This is part 2 of the Kyosho Lazer SB dirt cross build. So check it out. I'm on step 8, bag 4, which is the servo saver and steering assembly. Steering, what do you call that? The Ackerman and steering rack assembly. Yeah, whatever. Last night we did the shocks, the diffs, and the, actually off camera, let me adjust this just a little. Off camera I also did the slipper, and it all went well. Slipper's actually really nice quality. This is really cool. It's got the bearing right there. So that's where I'm at. We're doing all the odds and ends, and it's been a very enjoyable build so far. So I'm gonna get cracking on, wow, here's the tie rod ends too. Wow. Ackerman. I'm gonna get these pieces cut, deburred, filed, whatever I gotta do. And wow. And I'll bring you back here in a minute, okay? All right, guys, heads up. This is why I bought the extra bearings, is this right here. So I'm gonna talk about this for a second. The manual calls for the plastic / or metal 5x8 by 2.5 bushings to go in the servo saver horn here. We're going to instead replace those with these bearings, okay? And then, so that takes care of that. And then it asks for those same bushings in this step right here. So you take the servo saver adjuster, and then the spring, and then the bottom of the servo saver. And we're actually gonna throw a ball stud in here. Ooh, which one does it want? UM129B. Interesting. So there's two, it's the small ones, okay? Any rate. I wanted to tell you guys about that and update you on that. We're gonna throw this ball stud in. But right out of the gate, I am doing the additional bearings that it doesn't come with in the kit. So we're hoping to get a little bit smoother action with our steering rack with those bearings versus the plastic bushings. So obviously, unless you file the plastic bushings all down perfectly, you're, you know, as little resistance as it may create, it's just never going to be as smooth as it would be with the bearings. So there we go. I'm just gonna do a few steps here, and I'll bring you back in a minute when we get this set up. That goes together pretty good. There's the other bearing right there. Goes into the mounting post. There you go. There's that assembly there. It's gonna be pretty sweet. We got that. We got that. I got Keith from RC Icons going on in the background, giving me motivation. I know you guys all, like me, like to watch or listen to our guys on YouTube while we build. Yeah, it's fun, right? We're so funny. You know, this is a fun hobby. Get motivation from those guys. All right, this is interesting. This is trippy. Let's see if I can. This is. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm gonna need. What is that gonna be? A 2? Yep. So we can take this out for a second. Those bushings are supposed to help guide a little. And then these washers on top. So let's see if we can pull this off. You know, somehow. Oh, dang. Am I going to have to drill these a little? No, come on. There we go. There we go. I can get this in place. Son of a bitch. Yeah. And then what fell out? Oh. It kind of has you put it all together and then, but doesn't really. Oh, I see. You gotta crank this down a little bit. Okay. So let's try priming the spring since we can't get that to start threading. You guys know how to prime the spring? Of course you do. Got the bearing in the top there. So you can do whichever driver's car you want. And it's either the Mini Champs or the Kager. Yeah, I can't get that to start threading. All right, I got that, you guys. I don't know what the trick is, but I had to compress that spring a whole lot more and break it in and push down with all my might to get it to start threading. But hell's bells, I got it. Okay. So, geez, yeah, I got it, but that was cray, yo. Let's get this side on. Ackerman plate, or Ackerman bar, or Ackerman, I'm not sure which, what they call it. Try not to over tighten, but yeah, that moves really well. And I just noticed this burr. This is what I'm talking about. Make sure you do some good deburring. And, you know, that may or may not interfere, but I don't want to risk it. So if I see something while I'm assembling, I'm going to take care of it. Get the file out a little, and there we go. Get it. I just bought a Dremel. I'm doing enough of this stuff. There's tons of times where I wish I had a Dremel, so I finally broke down and bought one on Amazon. Yeah. Okay, so does that look correct? Yes. Uh-oh. Goes this way. Okay. We got that. Looks good. Get a little bit organized here. Next page. All right, maybe this is the Ackerman bar. Yeah, I think that this is, or the bridge, or whatever. Okay, so they got to orient this a certain way. It's not asymmetrical. Oh, yeah, it says right there. So, it goes that way. Cool. And the ball studs are, looks like these long ones. It's only an assumption, Keith. What's the assumption? Did you guys check out Ari's new video? That was badass. Oh yeah, Ari's new project video. And Rob from Quiet RC, he's got a new good video on that touring car, race car build. Man, his liveries and paint jobs are so freaking sweet. Yeah, he does some impressive work. Yeah, that's cool, man. I wish I had that kind of time and patience to do liveries and body work like that. Oh, what the... Well, that got cockeyed super quick, didn't it? There we go. I like painting, but I'm not great at it, and I've done a couple 2-tones and 3-tones in my time, but it's I don't think I like it that much, you know what I mean? And I wish I did. I wish I had the time and patience to do some sick liveries, but I just don't. All my stuff's runners anyway. I'm gonna go out and bash it, so I don't know if I can justify spending that much. And to each their own. I really respect and love really nice paint jobs and liveries, but for me personally, it probably just doesn't make sense. So that was easy. We got that. Now on to tie rods. Hey guys, bringing you back to show you the tie rod assembly, and although yeah, it's a simple procedure, this one you got to pay attention to because they're not symmetrical like a lot of team associated stuff. Now the tie rods themselves are directional, and that's pretty easy to observe, but you got a long and a short on each side, so it goes, for the left and right, you got long on one side, short on the other, and vice versa, and then long, short, and then they're oriented a certain way as well, so you got to pay attention to that. Also, I wanted to show you the tool that I'm using. I'm using this Team Associated tool here. It fits right in the groove, and so save your hand, save what other issue you may have putting that on. So if you've got one of these Team Associated tie rod tools laying around, it actually fits and works. So this is how I'm doing it right here. So long on one side, short on the other, and vice versa all the way down. A little tip to help speed you up. I kind of had to scratch my head for a second, figure out an efficient way to do this, and then I tried it and kind of got the hang of it, and it worked for me. So yeah, check your orientations, and then these will just easily pop right on. Got one more to do here. So now this one we're going to do short first. Something that I'm not used to. A lot of tie rods I've done recently and in the past, especially with team associated stuff. Even the PR, they were just all symmetrical, you know. So you could mindlessly just throw them together and you would be good. But this one is not symmetrical, or asymmetrical, if you will, meaning completely reversible. So not a big deal, but just a tip I wanted to show you. And here's the last one. See, that makes quick work of it. I'm leaving myself a little tolerance on the thread to further adjust them when they're on the car, because I really have no idea. It shows them threaded all the way on for the most part, and then when I get them on the car, I can back them off or whatever. So yeah, obviously that looks too short. They're all a little different, skiwampus, but no biggie. I'll just adjust them on the car. Okay, gonna move on to the next step. All right, I wanted to bring you guys back and show you where I'm at. I'm just finishing up the hub carriers, and I got the fronts done, see? And I took the liberty to install, it calls for the axles, which are right here. So this is the front, there's the front axles. Took the liberty to install the universal joints and got that there ready and set that aside. And now here's the rears. Rear's a little bit simpler, so calls for the ball stud and a collar. And it's the longer ball stud. So let's see, UM128B. Oh, and this is where I can see that if you really want to reference the number, because it's not in the side column, you have to flip over to the parts tree reference page. That's what they were talking about. So the deeper you get into the build, that's when you have to flip back. But I don't need to, because there's not enough parts for me to hear right now to get confused about it. I know which ball stud they're talking about, and I know which plastic collar they're talking about. 3x7x2, it's that right there. So we're actually good. Just pay attention to your orientations, because nothing's asymmetrical, which that's not a big deal. And actually, that's the front hub carriers and arms are not asymmetrical. Oh. The rear hubs are exactly the same, so they are asymmetrical, these rear ones. My hands are greasy. It's shit sliding right out because yeah, there was no grease in the universal joints, so I just took my time and I greased up the UVs here, okay, because they were dry as a bone. So, and that's common. You buy universal joints, they're not going to be pre-greased. So I did grease them. so that's not a big deal. It's been a little bit slow going because deburring, getting out the hobby knife, getting everything smooth, paying close attention to my orientations, stuff like that, you know. So this last hour, I've been working on the hub carriers. I've got the Ackerman and I've got the steering rack done, and I've got the tie rods done. Oh, see there? And then so this last hour, I've been solely working on hub carriers and getting these arms and parts cut and deburred and kind of looking good. So that section for me has been a little bit slow going, but nonetheless enjoyable. And in fact, I'm almost done with this, and I believe I get to start mounting stuff on the chassis here pretty soon, which is going to be cool. So it'll start to look like a car here in no time. So excited about that. And I don't know, it's still pretty early. I got another hour in me tonight, so we'll see how far I get. So wanted to talk about that and show you guys where I'm at. These are the rear hub carriers again. Checking my orientations, just being very careful. Got that. Time for these bearings. Let's throw them in. Now these are the ones that came with a kit. I did order the extra Kyosho bearing kit so that I would get the bearings for the steering rack, as I mentioned earlier, and I think that's worth it. Should have nice smooth action. I'm gonna have this car for a long time. I want to run it. I want to run the crap out of it. So to me, it's worth it to go the extra step. Same with these U joints here. Get that in there. So, yeah, I just realized I do have them backwards. So I thought the longer ones were for the rear and the shorter ones for the front. I'm wrong. So I got to hurry and swap these out. These are the fronts, and I know that because I noticed a bunch of play, or not play, but extra length in the axle here on the front. So these are the rears. So let me hurry and fix that, and I'll bring you right back. Yeah, that is way better. That fits correctly. Now, dude, I would have had to reference the part numbers on the... like it's that big of a deal. Yeah, I should have referenced the part numbers, I should say, on the aftermarket, on the not aftermarket, but the Kyosho U joints, because I wasn't absolutely sure which was front and which was rear. And there you go. The longer ones are the front, which makes sense because you need the shorter ones in the rear because the transmission takes up some room back there. So the out drives in the rear are wider, so thus the dog bone is going to be shorter. So, and this is not a big deal. I'm not too far. I'm glad I caught it right there. Obviously, I couldn't have moved forward without catching it right there, but it's a pretty easy switch. Oh, shit. Wife came down, told me she's making me a sandwich, turkey and cheese toasted sandwich. So I'm going to probably take a quick break and eat dinner. I've been going now for a couple hours since I got home from work, which is cool. No big deal. There we go. Problem solved. Yeah, that fits way better. I was like, am I gonna get this together and then have to shim these axles? I wasn't sure what was going on there at first, Now it makes total sense. So not a big deal. This makes way more sense now. These rear hub carriers are asymmetrical, actually, for the most part. You know, parts tree burrs are on opposite sides, but I looked at them dead on and they look perfectly symmetrical or identical, however you prefer. So let's get this buttoned up, dude. Get these done and get the chassis out, you know what I'm saying, and going. Start to look like a car, yo. Okay, rear, left and right. Oh yeah, this is going together pretty good now. I'm starting to cook along a little bit now. They have you do all the tedious stuff up front, you know? So once all the peripherals are complete, you can start cooking along and it'll start looking like a car. Oh, very good. Very good. Okay, and then here's the arms. Let's just do these arms real quick. Check your orientations. The arms are funny because, let me show you. So, look at this. And then you've got the parts tree, or the molding marks on one side but not the other, and then you flip it over, you got molding marks on this side, not the other. So that kind of bugs me a little bit. I know it's not a big deal, but I would have preferred to put the molding marks on the bottom, you know what I mean, so you don't see them ever. But you can't, because the way they came off the parts trees, no matter what, no matter what you do, one side and not the other is going to have a molding mark showing on the top. So, whatever. It is what it is. Okay, so let's pick one and just go for it. We got to shim these. Yeah, we got to shim these. So, do that. 3x7x2 shim. 3x7x2 plastic color. That's a little bit bigger. Yeah, I gotta hurry and cut these off. It's thin, thick. So they give you some extra shims. So I guess if I need them, I'm gonna use them. So I'll see how it goes together right here, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I've been trying to keep my workspace somewhat clean. Okay, so let's do this, and we'll shim on this side. Throw this in here. Be right up. Thanks, honey. There's that one. And let's just knock this out real quick, and then we'll take a break. You know, E-clip on the other side, of course. Comment below if you love E-clips. I do. I don't mind them at all. It's a big deal. Dude, I've been working with E-clips since freaking 1989 or something. I mean, they're just a part of RC life, right? You want to see me throw an E-clip on without it flying everywhere, guys? and then watch it fly, right? Because I talk cocky and then it happens. Just use my thumb, dude. Boom. That freaking easy, yo. That freaking easy. Want to see that again? The trick is to use your thumb. Put it right there. Thumb. And it went flying. Haha, gotcha. All right. Try one more time. Didn't go too far. That's the thumb keeps it from literally flying super far. This one's being a little stubborn. See what I mean? There we go. Didn't really snap into place. That one's a little wonky. You know what I found interesting is there's set screw holes right there. Do you see that? See if I can get a good shot for the... Okay, there's the E-clip, but look, there's a set screw hole right there next to it, like you could have put the set screw in, or maybe it's for something else, you know? Sway bar or something, I don't know, but, and maybe the set screw will come into play, but an E-clip with a set screw hole right next to it, I don't know. I thought that was interesting, so maybe we'll find out and uncover that mystery here later. I don't know. Okay, so there's the rear. Front and rear. Okay, I'm gonna go eat. I'll see you guys back here in a bit. Hey, so I'm just about done for the evening. Front and rear bulkheads are assembled and prepped. There's a snap together assembly. It's 3 parts. 1, 2, and 3, the bottom mounting plate on each of these bulkheads, which is trippy. It's a trippy design. I've not seen that before. 1, 2, and 3 on the bulkheads. Those are done. The chassis prepped with the binding, with the steering rack posts and other mounting posts. And I brought you in to see me possibly drop the steering rack down onto the posts. So I thought that would be kind of cool to check out. And it goes like this. Boom. Nothing underneath it. Bearings are in place. Oh yeah, check that out. And then a quasi Ackerman bar to go across the top, like so, right? And then some fasteners, button head, .3 by 8 millimeter button head. I guess those. Yeah. 2 of them on the outside. Everything's been 2 millimeter. I've only ran into a 1.5 once so far. So, yeah. By the time your parts trees dwindle down, you've already memorized them. You don't even have to go reference right in the middle of the build during late arms, early bulkhead is when I had to reference the parts tree once. After that, I never did again because the parts tree parts dwindled down to where it was not that much to manage. And, you know, you had them memorized by then pretty much. And so no issues there. The arm and bulkhead was kind of the slow going stuff, deburring, checking orientations. That was the slow going parts. But other than that, it was pretty dang smooth so far. So there's where I'm at. I'm on step 24. I'm going to install the servo. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Freaking awesome. So check that out. That's in. Yeah, the plastics are really nice. The hardware is really nice. The bulkheads were trippy. Again, the 3-part assembly on that. You know, it looks like one piece now, but it's not. It's 1, 2, 3 pieces. They snap together. You put a screw down in there. You know, that was different. So, yeah, should I put my servo in real quick? Yeah, I'm going to mess with it. Let me go grab it. Then at least you guys can take a look at my servo. Oh, that's a nice horn. I'm going to use that if it'll fit. Stick that over there for a second. Servos have come a long way. These Metal Gear ones comes with all this extra hardware. Pretty stoked on the new equipment you can get. You know, and it's getting late. I'm getting tired. I gotta be done here pretty soon, you know. I do have one of these handy dandies. These are freaking cool. Have you ever seen one of these? Let me show you how this works. Okay, so in, positive, negative, lights up. Stick this here. Positive, negative. Okay. So, couple modes. Manual mode. Hit the button. That puts it in neutral. Auto goes left to right, all 180 degrees. Back to manual. And then you can tell how accurate manual mode is if it's in the middle when you hit over to neutral and it doesn't move at all. Watch. See? So that didn't move. So that is currently centered position. It'll pretty much stay unless you move it. So I get it in center position, double check it, and then I check it again before I mount the servo horn, before you get too deep in there and you have to, you know, mess with it while it's all put together. So basically, it looks like you mount the mounting hardware to the servo, and here's the servo parts right here. So you need this guy. I gotta get through this and then I'm going to bed. And then I'll be able to do the arms to the bulkheads, and I'll be able to assemble the rest of the chassis tomorrow. And I'm not even gonna have time to upload this video, which is fine. I'll do it this weekend. Not a big deal. Just talking out loud here. Okay, there's that. There's that. Where's these at? Right there. Indeed. Oh, you see, this is what I mean by these parts trees. This kind of bugs me. They don't snap off clean at all. It's whatever, but you do have to deburr the living crap out of everything. So it does slow you down a little. The PR stuff snapped off real cleanly, and I just barely had to file it a tiny bit in certain spots, and not even everywhere. In fact, a lot of the stuff just snapped off so cleanly that I didn't even have to mess with it. So, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is, right? Not a big deal. That one. And you want it to look nice, you know, you got to do a little deburring so it just doesn't look like total garbage. There we go. There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, and then washers and 3x10 screws, button head. 3x10. Where's my washers at? Not those, are they? 4 of them. Yeah, I started cooking though. Right after I finished up the arms into the bulkhead stuff, I started cooking, and I got excited because I'm like, I knew the chassis was coming real soon, and you know, you get stoked to start mounting stuff on the chassis because it starts to look like a car and feel like a car, you know. Everybody loves that. So, you know, by tomorrow evening, I'll be in the home stretch of, oh shit, I forgot the washer. Come on, Dave. I'm getting tired and not thinking clearly anymore. I didn't really struggle with anything at all, except for getting the spring on to the servo saver and dealing with that. Getting that spring on was kind of a biatch. You have to really crush that spring, and then I still had to push with all my might to get it. But it's part of the deal. So that was really the only thing that I semi-struggled with, and then everything else has been pretty smooth, actually. And like I said, once I got like almost done with the arms, right as I was kind of getting the arms finished up and figured out into the bulkheads, I started cruising real good. And I tell you, I was really enjoying myself, you know. That's why we do it. I love building, literally. I love running, and I run a lot. I'll run cars and switch it up, you know, run different stuff, tune. I love tuning too, actually. Love tuning. I love trying different gear ratios. I love messing with gearing. I love messing with shocks and geometry setups, tires and wheels. I love that aspect. Who doesn't love tires and wheels, right? Trying different things there. I love mounting electronics. I love getting a car fired up for the first time. Oh, my freaking arms and shoulders are tired too. Yeah, we're just about done for the night. But yeah, this has been cool. This has been a trippy, fun build. I'm enjoying this. I don't know what else to tell you. If you got questions or comments, hit me up. You know, leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Shannon Hudson, one of my buddies on my Facebook page. Shout out. Good dude. He just bought a dirt cross, and you know, there was a couple things I wish I would have known in advance. Like, well, I did figure out from watching other build videos, like the additional bearings you need for the steering rack. There's 4 of them. So I thought it was 2 actually, and I was wrong. So I hit him back up and I'm like, hey, correction, it's 4 bearings right here. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 2 on the bottom. And I told him the size and everything. And to see if he could search in his current existing parts to locate for those, or if he's going to indeed have to order some. Because we were talking about the UJs, you know, getting the UJs coming for the build, because you want to have that kind of ready too, so you don't have to dismantle again to put them on, right? So things like that, you know, trying to help him out, you know. Where does this go? Right here? That's trippy. It's way off to the side like that, huh? Well, shit, let's mount this son of a gun, huh? As he goes along. I like to watch other people's builds too. Do you guys? I do. So that's neutral position still. What's up, guys? It is the next day, and I'm cracking along some more. Just got home from work. Got an extended weekend this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. Happy Memorial Day weekend. So last night I got the servo on, servo saver, Ackerman bar. The steering servo horn is hooked up, the linkage. The chassis is set up, ready to go. I'm about to mount the motor plate here. And yeah, it's looking good. Everything went pretty smooth when I started cruising along there. Things started going pretty smooth. So it's been fun. Should I shave that? Probably, yeah. So gonna get a little bit more done. See what happens. See how far along I get this evening, and start to assemble the arms onto the chassis, the bulkheads, of course, things like that. It's been pretty cool. Yeah, this all went nice. I don't know, it's a fun build. Those sections were a little bit tedious, but and slow going. Oh, what I was going to mention is the 3-part bulkheads. I don't know how well this is going to hold up. I guess it does hold up, but it's weird. This is 3 sections put together. I think I mentioned that before last night. I was getting tired. Things were going downhill quick. I got a little bit more done, but yeah, we're going to use a little Loctite for the motor plate, obviously. So let's get that done. I didn't mean to put so much on there. So when that happens, I will use it on a couple more screws. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cooking along here. I want to get as much done as possible this weekend. I'd love to get the chassis done. And what in the actual? That's strange. What's going on there? Fucking holes don't line up. Oh, there they go. Weird. Sounds like the wife's home. She's gonna come down and talk to me. So I'll see you in a minute. So this is pretty exciting. I just did the rear diff carrier front diff carrier is on, well, was already on, and now it's time to start dropping in stuff onto the chassis. So here is the front diff. Just calls for a bearing on each side. And then I assembled this little guy. And he kind of sits right here. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. It's pretty cool. Time to get this up here so I can see what I'm doing, because I know that goes there eventually. I will say these diffs feel really good. Ring grease. Yeah, there's the gear grease. So let's do a little of that. Let's just use this. So also, I want to drop a little right here. I don't know about you guys, but I like to put it under. Boom. Get this a little bit. Put that right there for a second. Yeah. There you go. So, ring gear grease, bearings on, front center drive shaft gear on. bulkhead.
Cool little video, I thought. This body is that whole part about that is that poster Adam bought from the Larry auction. So a little piece of Larry.
Don't over tighten. Lubed up. Ready to go. Make sure it's not binding. And yeah, that keeps it kind of where it needs to be. Feels pretty good.
Hope you guys liked it. If you're not already a subscriber, I'd ask you guys to consider subscribing.
Cool. Pretty cool. Check them all again. I do a tiny little more, little turn after they're all in, so it's nice and even. Check for binding. Yeah, feels good. And you know, the resistance, that'll run in. It'll run in. Feels good. Sweet. Alright, what's up? I just wanted to bring you back and let you see. Arms are on. We don't have any binding. This plastic is kind of soft. There's no play, but it does flex. So, I mean, there's up and down play, but no, it feels pretty good as far as the steering rack is concerned. I'm just saying, and my servo saver might be a little tight, okay? So, but it could also, this could all just run in a little bit. I'm going to test that further with my servo tester there. Also, the rear looks good. No binding on the tranny. That'll run in a little bit as well. So I'm stoked. I laid my parts out for the putting the shocks on. It says to do the front first. So these plastic collars, I've got them right here. The thin ones. All right, so plastic collar. Little carrier. Dude, this is where I get really excited. Starts to look like a chassis. It starts to look like a car. You know what I'm saying? Pretty sweet. Should I put the bleeders on the outside? I don't know. In case I need to tune shocks quickly. Interesting design, noting that they mount in the front of the arm. So, you know, that's different. Not a big deal, but different. Which screw do we fasten it with down here? A 12 millimeter. Okay, let's get them fastened. Which position? I am going to start furthest out. Oh, I've heard this potentially can bind. So we're going to try it. Try the furthest position if the geometry works, right? It should. It should, yeah. So I'm going to go for the lowest position. You can always raise it up. I'm in the street and I'm not going to be jumping this, okay? 12 millimeter, yes. So Yeah, lowest position. You guys probably think I'm crazy. It's okay. I like how they handle a little lower. Try to get away with as low as I can before I start raising up, just because I know I'm going to go the other way. If I start high or medium, I'm going to try to find ways to make it lower. So I'm just thinking ahead on the type of driving I'm doing. So not a big deal. I still got some smooth grass around me that I can run them in. All right, real quick. I want to make a decision right now. I think I'm going to put alloy nuts on them, because why not, right? So these usually and should work. And also, you can run a washer if you want. I don't mind the look of the washer, and I'm gonna run it, cause I'm crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I like the look of it better. I could have ran a washer instead of a plastic collar too, but having that said now and thinking about it, the plastic collar, the softness actually works in your favor. So when it flexes or is getting beat around, it can have a little bit of give. You want a little bit of give in there. But this action is pretty sweet. So if you got your spare parts laying around, hell, just go for it. What else? I don't know. It was time consuming because there's a shit ton of screws on the bottom and the bulkheads and the top bracket, tons of screws, and I did them all by hand. So it was time consuming, but that's okay. Okay, I'm not going to over tighten these, but I mean, they're nice and snug. Dude, that's sick. I got front shocks on. That's sick. And it feels good too. Should we do the rear? Does it have us do the rear? Does it have us do the rear? Yeah, it does. Oh my gosh, what? And then I get to do electronics? You're kidding. I'm gonna probably go on a walk. So I want to finish this section here. And then I'm going to take a break, go on a walk. But this is the fun part anyway. You guys get to see this come together right here with shocks on chassis. That's feels thicker, but it's not. What the hell? Weird. I mean, actually it is. That one's just weird. Huh. Or maybe this one's thin. So let's bag that one, and I think that's what it was. It had a thin spot in that plastic. Whatever, right? It's only your life in models. It's only your life in RC. My life in RC. Bleeder on the outside, just for funsies. In case you got to go back and tune and you just want to pop the cap off real quick, top them off, and be able to bleed it real quick or whatever, you know. We're going outer position again. I know, I keep checking because my brain's fried and I have to double check stuff. I haven't really I had to backtrack once for whatever that is. I don't even remember that. I don't even remember what it was right now, but I've got it on film. I recorded it, so when I go back and review, I'll see. I only had to backtrack once, and so I feel like it's been going pretty well. And the instructions, I'm gonna say, are pretty good. They're decent. Once you get deep into the build, or about midway, you don't have to reference that parts tree reference page anymore. I only referenced it once. I only went back to it once because the parts start to dwindle down to where there's not enough to really worry about. You know what I mean? And so it was right before the middle. I referenced it when there was still kind of a lot of parts, but you start to get into them a bit, you know? and it was for something, just a small part where there's a few of them that look the same, and that was pretty much it, you know? So, and I'm not like a pro builder or nothing. I mean, I have experience and a knack for it, and I enjoy it and this and that, but I'm not like the greatest builder ever. And so if I can get through them pretty good, then I'd say that they're pretty straightforward, because I've gotten confused as hell before on HPI stuff. Had to backtrack, had a problem with the clutch bell. The centrifugal clutches blow my mind sometimes. I replaced, once I actually replaced it twice, I finally got the hang of it. But there's some HPI stuff on the RS4 Nitro that was slow going and kind of confusing for me. And sometimes, dude, you get stuck on team associated stuff. First time you go and build the diff. Yeah, for sure, dude. First time you go and build a team associated diff, you're like scratching your head going, what is this design? And then you just have to trust it and try it and go for it. And, you know, you find out that, oh, it kind of makes sense in the end. But at first, it's like, what the WTF, you know what I mean? Then you go build a couple of them, and you're like, yeah, it gets like normal, but I just rebuilt a stealth tranny. And, you know, what I watched was, even though it's high speed, I just went through it like 3-4 times, but it was, I watched Bob at Hot Track RC build a stealth tranny for one of his builds, and it might have been the World's Car video. And I watched that tranny build that he's got documented perfectly, even though it's in fast speed, it's time-lapsed a little, but it's still extremely direct, and he talks through it, and it tells you exactly what to do. And so that's a killer video for referencing a stealth transmission with the updated Octolock slipper. Hi, Bear. And the diff. He shows the diff in great effect and accuracy, and I love it. So I watched that, and that helped me do my rebuild big time. All right, holy shit, are you joking? I have shocks. I have a chassis. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, and it feels good. It feels freaking awesome. I'm gonna trust that I used the right fluid in the shocks. I used 30, and on my really high-speed performance applications, I'll go up to 45. And but I don't know. I like that for articulation. This might work for four-wheel drive for what I'm thinking of my driving style on this. I'm gonna try it, and if I don't like 30, yeah, I'll have to bump it up. Honestly, I usually run a little bit thicker stuff, but I bought the 30 for this build. I didn't like the look of that burr, guys. And now that I got the shocks on, I gotta do a little deburring so it looks nice, right? Rest of them are okay. That one's not, but you know, it's just tie rods, right? Okay, that'll be fine. We'll leave those like that for now. But those ones there where you can see them like a sore thumb, get them out of there. This one too. I hope I'm in frame. Sorry, I'm not monitoring anything right now. Just trusting the angle I had from last night, which is decent. So I got a lot of documented build footage, so that'll be fun to edit up. I'll time lapse some of it. I'm gonna experiment with that. Time lapse some of it, and some of it I talk some certain points that I might try and keep, but I'm gonna leave it for the most part, semi-long form, for sure. There's the plastic nuts. There's 2 more collars. And then, damn, dude, I'm down to like hardly any screws left. This is insane. Freaking, obviously you can tell I'm getting stoked on this. It literally goes to electronics next. So, okay, we're gonna take a break there. I'm gonna hang out with the wife for a minute, go for a walk. All right. Yeah, check it out. Okay. It's a pretty tight fit, guys. Couple things. Got to put the switch on top of the servo. There's not enough room once the battery's in here. The receiver I don't have figured out yet. I might move it over to the servo as well with the switch. And I think that's what I saw a couple guys do. David from Kai City. I'm pretty sure that's what he did. I will do some cable management, but as it sits, I could bench test. So there's that. I could bench test, yo. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go low with the wiring. And then 1 to steer, 2 to burn. How's that go? 1 to turn, 2 to burn. That's how it goes. Yeah, 1 to turn, 2 to burn. Yeah, I love these freaking receivers though. Okay, speedo. Let's go low. Yeah, this chassis is looking nice, guys. Things are tight in here though, boy, I tell you. It's tight. It's real tight. It's the right plug. It's not really. Oh, freak. It's not. It's not the right plug. Okay. Well, you guys want to watch me freaking swap out a plug real quick? I've semi gotten good at this because I've done it 100 freaking times. You got to get your razor blade out. Yep. Get the pointy razor blade out. Grab you a plug-a-roo, the right one, right? Look at it whole side up. Let's take a look at it whole side up. Now watch this. Well, you guys have done this. Sorry. Yeah, my channel's for newbies, okay? This is for the newbies out there. Almost. Got it. Okay. And then leave it in your hand. Just leave it in your hand, just like that. And then throw this one on. The whole side up. Boom. Snap them all together at once. So that's all. If you can keep them all together and take them off kind of methodically. I struggled to get them off, but you know, I think my blade's super dull, but get under them good, pull them out all at the same time, basically, and voila. Yeah, this is weird, dude. This is tight in here. Where should I put that? All right, I'm gonna think about that for a minute, because dude, we're ready to effing bench test, biatch. Put that in there. What are these, guys? They go in the other plug. I don't know. What are these? I don't know. Tell me what they are in the comments, please. Now, I'm gonna have to work on the geometry for sure for a bit. You know how you get them. And these are way off. The rear's not that bad, but the freaking fronts are way off on the turnbuckles and stuff, you know. Which side should we put the plug on? You guys ever just ponder that? Think about that? What side you want to put the plug on? Yeah, this is a fat pack. Is it gonna fit? God damn, not really. Might have to use my other one. That sucks. I was hoping that would fit, but yeah, I get that this is a fat pack, but Jesus, it's freaking in there now. It's freaking in there. It won't go under the, it went under there, and that's crazy. Let's use the other pack. Yeah, that's just slightly too fat. All right, pack, and I got a controller. I'm gonna bind it to my DX3. Yeah, this receiver is gonna be an issue. I can do some wire management to that side though. Let's stick it right here for a second. It's in there tight. I don't know what that post is. That's a body post. But aren't we gonna do, I think David mentioned from Kai City that this comes out. In fact, yeah, I remember screwing it in. Cut. Just kidding. Edit that shit out. All right. Oh, that's weird. Is there more parts for padding on the I don't think so. No other parts for the battery. I guess, yeah, you can put, yeah, there's some stuff to hold it back from moving around, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Okay, we gotta leave the adapter on, unfortunately. I wanted to actually run my new 8300 milliamp 150C pack. That's what I actually want to run in this, but dude, it doesn't fit. Almost fits, dude, but if I get a lower profile, really good 150C pack, I'll be stoked. Okay, well, that's okay for now. Nothing's touching the drive shaft. Maybe. Yeah, that's fine. Just push this out of the way a little. Wire management at its best, right? I just wanted to bench test, and I can deal with this and dial it in later when I'm not all excited about the build and I'm calm and taking my time. I'll do some wire management and get that figured out, zip tie the living shit out of it, right? I need that to come out this way a little, actually, but it's all right. There. Grab it through. That's what I wanted. There. I remember doing some wonky ass wire management like this recently on the PR or when I did the rebuild of the Team Associated or something. Oh man, there's too much in there again. You gotta pull this through just a little. I was struggling dealing with some wire management on that other build as well. Okay, tuck that in there. Yeah, dude, okay, listen, that's gonna work for now, for a minute. Everything's below and out of the way. Okay. Should we bench test it? Zip tie there, you know, something like that, or cut the wires down. God, I could almost, yeah, cut the wires down. But I like to swap motors around. It's really hard for me to. All right, anyway, bind, turn on, put in bind. We're gonna do this again. I think you gotta go the other way. Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, baby. My steering's way off. Oh, well, there. That's much closer. And that was middle, so actually I didn't do too bad of a job. Where's middle? Right there. Yeah, I'm a little out, but it's one click, which I can actually fix when I do my toe in the front. I can get that a lot closer, but seriously, it's not bad. Okay, let's turn the steering up and see how far it goes. Pretty far. I like it though, it works good. That ought to run in, or it's too tight. I got the fan in there and it's just blowing inside the sideways of the ESC, and it'll pull hot motor off and blow it right onto the ESC. I don't imagine this is gonna get that hot though, honestly. It's geared conservatively, which I'll probably leave it. And it is 4,300 kV though, but it's not that much. I don't know, what do you think? That'll run in or what? I mean, it feels good. It's got a little friction. Yeah. Just buttoning it up here. Put these in here. I do have a few extra parts though, guys. There's a few extra things. Lots of plastics still. Let's see, it is backwards. All right, hold on. Switch these wires back the way I had them. I got confused there for a second. But this is correct. The standard color 1, 2, 3 ABC. It's perfect. Just like that. Okay. All right. Back on. Now we're cooking with gas. You guys see that? Now we're cooking. Doesn't sound too bad. Those tires are not glued. I'm not gluing them. I'm gonna get hot laps on this, or I might glue them and keep them for the shelf. I don't know. I still might run it in dirt and grass, though, but I really am gonna try not to run these knobbies all out. Its center's pretty good. Dialing in the steering and looking at the geometry. I like the 4350 kV. Yeah, that's perfect for this. And then I just don't have to gear it up because it's a pain in the ass to get to this pinion. I'll tell you that much. I struggled putting this on. I was going to tell you. I mean, a minor struggle. It's tight, but yeah, it took me a minute to figure out the angle of the dangle, but I got it. You got to go straight down right there to get to the grub screw for the pinion. Straight down right there. It's kind of crazy. Uh-oh. That looks like it'd go pretty straight right there. Seriously, not bad. I did grease all the dog bone ends, and I greased the center drive shaft as well. It needs to run in a little. Where the hell did I put my... Where did I put it there? It needs to run in a little. And I left these screws kind of loose, and I gotta kind of check them once in a while. So there you go. That's the whole chassis build with electronics. I can start to think about cutting the body. Those are good. I just did these, so I did leave these kind of loose. It says to not over tighten, and yeah, you don't want binding, and as it runs in, I think it's a good idea to chuck them. But she's screaming. I like the steering, the all-wheel drive action. It's very smooth. Very nice. It's got plenty of steering. Turn it down a little. Cool. All right, guys. I'll check you later.